Most people spend 12 months earning what a few manage to create in 30 days. But the secret isn't in working harder, it's in thinking differently. See, it's not about adding more hours, it's about adding more value to the hours you already have. The difference between the average and the affluent is not time, it's philosophy. You can have the same 24 hours, but if you change how you use them, you can compress a year's income into a month's results. Wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with mindset, discipline, and design. Let me tell you something interesting. Income has a strange loyalty to your thinking. If your habits and philosophy stay the same, so will your paycheck. You can switch jobs, get a raise, start something new, but until your thinking expands, your results will contract back to where you started. The secret to financial growth isn't luck or talent, it's transformation. You must think like an investor, act like a builder, and live like a student of wealth. Because once you change your financial philosophy, your income has no choice but to follow. If you want to make your yearly income your monthly income, the first thing you must understand is that money doesn't respond to need, it responds to value. Too many people think they need to work harder, longer, faster. They think if they just put in more hours, the world will pay them more. But the truth is, you don't get paid by the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to that hour. Two people can work the same number of hours, in the same city, in the same profession, and one earns 10 times more. What's the difference? Value. One has invested in becoming more valuable to the marketplace. When I was young, I made the same mistake most people make. I thought the goal was to get a raise, a promotion, a better job. But a wise man once told me, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That one line changed my life. It taught me that wealth doesn't start with opportunity, it starts with capacity. You have to expand your capacity to serve, to think, to create, to lead, because the marketplace doesn't pay you for effort, it pays you for results. So the real question is not, how can I make more money? The real question is, how can I make myself more valuable? Learn the skills that the marketplace rewards: communication, leadership, sales, influence, creativity, strategy. Read the books that challenge your thinking. Take courses that stretch your potential. Spend 30 minutes a day sharpening your tools. Because if you're not growing, you're decaying. The world moves too fast for you to stand still. The only way to stay ahead is to outgrow your old self faster than the world changes around you. Look at your day. How much of it is filled with low-value activity? Scrolling, gossiping, worrying, reacting. That time is stealing your wealth. Replace those moments with learning, creating, connecting. Audit your time like a millionaire audits his cash flow. You might not have control over the hours you work, but you have full control over how much value you pack into those hours. And don't be afraid of feedback. The marketplace is the most honest mirror you'll ever face. It will always tell you what it values. If your income hasn't changed, that's not punishment, it's feedback. The world is saying, we haven't seen more value from you yet. Don't take it personally, take it professionally. Study what your clients, your boss, or your audience appreciates most, and then multiply that. Improve the one thing that matters most to them. When I started bringing more ideas, more preparation, more creativity to my work, I didn't have to ask for higher pay. The value spoke for itself. Money has a funny way of finding the people who've earned it in advance. So don't chase income, chase growth. Because when you become more valuable, the world can't help but pay you more. Wealth follows worth. Everyone wants multiple streams of income. It's become one of the most popular phrases in personal finance today. But here's the truth most people miss. Multiple streams of income without multiple streams of value is a recipe for chaos. People want to expand before they've even learned to sustain. They're so busy trying to start 5 things at once that they never make one thing work properly. And if you've got 5 broken pipes, you don't have more income, you've just got more leaks. Wealth doesn't begin with expansion. It begins with mastery. You must first build one strong foundation, one system, one product, one service that delivers consistent value. You can't multiply confusion. You can't duplicate inconsistency. If you try to scale before you've learned stability, your entire structure will collapse under its own weight. I learned that lesson the hard way. Early in my career, I was so eager to create more, to branch out, to chase the next opportunity. I wanted to do speaking, training, consulting, selling, all at once. But my mentor told me, first, get great at one thing. Build a fortress before you build an empire. So I did. I focused all my energy on becoming excellent at one skill, communication. I studied it, practiced it, and refined it. Once that skill became valuable, opportunities began to branch out naturally. Speaking led to writing. Writing led to seminars. Seminars led to coaching. Each stream flowed from the value created in the previous one. I didn't chase income. I cultivated value, and income chased me. That's the principle you must remember. You don't build streams of income, you build streams of value. Every product, service, or idea you offer must solve a real problem, serve a real person, and produce a real result. When you've created one system that consistently does that, then, and only then, do you replicate it. Here's where strategy comes in. Start with one thing and perfect it. Master your craft. Document your process so that it can run without you. That's what turns your effort into a system. Then, take the profits from that system. Not debt, not borrowed money, not fantasy income, and use those profits to fund your next venture. That's how wealth multiplies safely. Growth built on value compounds. Growth built on greed collapses. You see, money is a byproduct of trust. And trust is built through consistent value over time. If people can trust you to deliver in one area, they'll follow you into another. But if you haven't proven yourself with one, adding more only spreads your weakness. Don't dig 10 shallow wells, dig one deep one that hits water, and then use that well to fill others. So before you chase multiple streams of income, build multiple streams of value. Strengthen your first river until it flows without your constant attention. Because once value becomes self-sustaining, income becomes automatic. And when your foundation is strong, every new stream becomes not a leak, but a legacy. Most people spend their entire lives working on their job, but very few work on themselves. They pour energy into clocking hours, finishing tasks, impressing bosses, and chasing promotions, but they forget the most valuable investment they'll ever have, themselves. Because the truth is this: if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. See, your job pays you for what you do, but life pays you for who you become. And who you become determines how far you'll go, how much you'll earn, and what kind of person you'll attract into your world. When I was a young man, I thought hard work alone was enough. I worked long hours, did everything asked of me, showed up early, stayed late, but my income stayed the same. My mentor told me, "You're working too hard on your job and not hard enough on yourself." At first, that didn't make sense. But then I realized the market doesn't pay for time, it pays for value. And the only way to increase your value is through personal growth. So I began to study. I read books, listened to recordings, attended seminars. I learned about leadership, communication, and human behavior. And suddenly, the world started to respond differently. My ideas were sharper, my confidence was stronger, and opportunities that once seemed out of reach started finding me. Nothing around me had changed, but I had changed, and that changed everything. You see, your income rarely exceeds your level of personal development. If you want to multiply your results, multiply your learning. The better you get, the easier life becomes. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more wisdom. Don't wish for easier opportunities, wish for greater skill. Because once you become the kind of person who can handle more, the world will trust you with more. Now, this isn't just philosophy, it's practical. Create a personal development budget. Treat it like an investment, not an expense. Buy books that stretch your thinking. Attend workshops that refine your skills. Listen to one good idea every single day until it becomes part of you. Replace 1 hour of entertainment with 1 hour of education, and in a year, your life will look entirely different. And here's the key. Don't just learn, track your growth. Every month, ask yourself, have I improved my mindset? Have I developed a new skill? Am I more disciplined than I was before? Because when you measure growth, you accelerate it. The goal isn't just to earn more, it's to become more. Remember, your job will make you a living, but your self-education will make you a life. When you commit to working harder on yourself than anything else, your future stops being uncertain and starts becoming inevitable. Because the best investment you'll ever make isn't in stocks, real estate, or business. It's in the person staring back at you in the mirror. Most people spend their lives trying to look rich instead of learning how to become rich. They buy things to feel successful for a moment, but those moments fade and the bills stay. The wealthy, on the other hand, think differently. They don't see money as something to spend. They see it as something to grow. Every dollar to them is an employee. And like any good employer, they make sure each one is working a shift, earning returns, and bringing back more value than it costs. When you start thinking like an investor instead of a consumer, your entire relationship with money changes. The average person sees a paycheck and thinks, what can I buy? The investor sees the same paycheck and asks, what can I build? That simple shift in thinking separates those who stay stuck from those who break free. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much of it you put to work. I remember when I first began to understand this principle. In my early years, I earned a little money, but it never seemed to stay. I was quick to spend, always chasing the next pleasure, a nicer car, a better suit, a fancier dinner. Then one day, my mentor said, you're not poor because you don't make enough. You're poor because your dollars don't have jobs. That hit me hard. So I started treating every dollar like a tool. I began asking a new question before every purchase. Will this pay me back? That question changed my habits instantly. I stopped buying things that decayed and started buying things that paid. Books that expanded my thinking. Tools that improved my work. Investments that created returns. Slowly but surely, the dollars I once spent were now working for me. And here's what's remarkable. Once you start letting money work for you, it doesn't complain, it doesn't call in sick, and it doesn't take vacations. It just keeps multiplying, quietly, consistently, faithfully. But here's the danger most people fall into. Lifestyle inflation. The moment their income grows, their spending grows right alongside it. They earn more and think they can afford more, but in reality, they've just increased their dependence. The wealthy do the opposite. When their income grows, their investments grow faster than their lifestyle. They let their wealth buy freedom, not just comfort. So before you buy, pause and think. Ask yourself, Is this an expense or an asset? Is this a seed or a snack? One will feed your future, the other will feed your appetite. Make sure your dollars have a purpose, whether it's earning interest, building equity, or buying back your time. The goal isn't to stop enjoying life, it's to enjoy it with wisdom. Because the real luxury isn't found in what you own, it's in knowing your money is working harder than you are. And that's when wealth stops being a chase and starts being a companion. Knowledge is potential power, but only potential. What truly changes your life isn't what you learn, it's what you apply. You can read 100 books, attend a dozen seminars, listen to every podcast, and still stay broke if none of it turns into action. I've met people who could quote great thinkers better than professors, yet their lives didn't reflect even a fraction of that wisdom. Because wisdom isn't about knowing more, it's about doing more with what you already know. You see, life doesn't reward information, it rewards transformation. And transformation happens only when knowledge meets action. I remember early in my journey, I was a great student. I'd fill notebook after notebook with insights, advice, and plans. I felt accomplished because I was learning. But then my mentor looked at me one day and said, "You've got a library in your head and nothing in your bank." That stung, but it was true. I had knowledge sitting idle. I wasn't applying it fast enough to see results. So I made a decision. For every new thing I learned, I'd take one action within 24 hours. That one shift changed everything. When I read a book on sales, I applied one technique that same day and closed my next client. When I studied goal setting, I didn't just admire the author's ideas, I sat down and wrote my own goals that night. When I learned about investing, I didn't wait to feel ready. I started small, learned from mistakes, and improved. Action turns education into evidence. Without it, you'll always be preparing, never producing. There's another secret. Teaching what you learn multiplies its power. When you share a lesson with someone else, you don't just repeat it, you reinforce it. You refine your understanding, spot your weaknesses, and commit deeper to the practice. That's why I encourage people to become students who teach. Don't wait until you've mastered it. Start by sharing what's working. It keeps your learning alive and your accountability high. And don't just measure what you know, measure what's working. Keep a results journal. Track what each new habit, idea, or strategy produces. Some things will click, others won't. But that's how progress happens. Knowledge is like a seed. You must plant it, water it, and give it time to grow. Reading about seeds doesn't grow a tree. Planting does. So whenever you finish reading, listening, or learning, don't just close the book. Open your calendar. Schedule one action. Test one idea. Call one person. Build one small change. Because the bridge between where you are and where you want to be is not built by information, it's built by implementation. Remember this, success doesn't come to those who know the most. It comes to those who use what they know the fastest. Because knowledge alone is potential, but applied knowledge, that's profit. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It doesn't announce its arrival, and it doesn't cause sudden collapse. It simply dulls your hunger, numbs your ambition, and convinces you that good enough is good enough. Most people don't fail because of lack of opportunity or ability. They fail because of comfort. They build soft habits, soft minds, and soft excuses. The moment you settle, you stop growing. And once growth stops, decline begins, even if you can't see it yet. Growth, real growth, lives right outside your comfort zone. It's the tension between who you are and who you could become. But here's the trick. Your mind hates that tension. It loves familiarity. It loves safety. It whispers, "You've done enough. Take it easy." And that's how dreams die, quietly, not with failure, but with comfort. I remember when I first started speaking publicly, I was terrified. My hands would shake, my voice would break, and I would pray that nobody noticed how nervous I was. But I also knew that comfort wouldn't build my future, courage would. So I kept stepping up, trembling but trying, until one day the stage that once scared me became the place I felt most alive. That's the magic of discomfort. What once feels unbearable can become your new normal if you stay with it long enough. Comfort tells you to maintain. Growth tells you to multiply. Comfort tells you to protect what you have. Growth tells you to stretch for more. You must decide which voice to follow. Every time you choose growth, you earn new strength. Every time you choose comfort, you lose a little of your edge. The wealthy, the successful, the fulfilled, they've learned to be at ease with unease. They understand that comfort never created a legacy. One way to train yourself out of comfort is by setting goals that stretch your imagination. Goals that make you just uncomfortable enough to wake up early and stay up late. If your goals don't scare you a little, they're not goals, they're maintenance plans. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who think bigger, who make you feel slightly out of place in the best possible way. Growth thrives in the company of discomfort. And remember, reinvest not only in your wallet, but in your capacity. Take the course that intimidates you. Attend the seminar that stretches your thinking. Step into the room where you're not the smartest person. That's where real wealth begins. Because comfort may bring you peace today, but growth brings you prosperity tomorrow. And the price of greatness has always been paid in discomfort. So the next time life feels uncertain, uncomfortable, or stretching, smile. That's not failure knocking. That's growth calling your name. Money has a fascinating way of revealing the truth about a person. It doesn't change who you are. It simply magnifies what's already there. If you were generous when you had little, you'll be even more generous when you have a lot. If you were careless and impulsive when you had a small income, those same habits will destroy you when your income grows. Wealth doesn't build character, it exposes it. That's why your focus should never just be on getting rich. It should be on becoming the kind of person who can handle wealth with wisdom and grace. When I was younger, I met people who were financially successful but spiritually and emotionally bankrupt. They had big houses but small hearts. They had full bank accounts but empty relationships. And I thought to myself, what good is wealth if it costs you your peace, your integrity, or your soul? Real wealth should never be measured only by what you have. It should be measured by what you become in the process of earning it. You see, money is a tool, not a trophy. It's meant to serve, not to rule. When handled with character, money becomes a force for good. It feeds families, builds opportunities, creates impact. But when handled without principle, it becomes destructive. That's why integrity is the highest form of wealth insurance. When your word can be trusted, opportunities chase you. When your reputation carries honesty, doors open before you even knock. I learned early that character compounds faster than capital. The same way money grows through interest, character grows through choices. Every time you tell the truth when it's hard, every time you keep a promise when no one's watching, you're adding deposits to your moral account, and that account will eventually yield the kind of dividends money can't buy. Gratitude is another key to staying grounded. The more you earn, the more you must remember where it all came from. Not just your effort, but the people, timing, and grace that helped along the way. Gratitude keeps ego in check. It reminds you that wealth is not ownership, it's stewardship. You don't truly own anything in this world. You manage it for a while before passing it on. And the question life will ask at the end isn't how much did you make, it's what did you make of yourself And what did you do with what you had? So let your money mirror your values. Give from every gain, no matter how small. Treat people with fairness in every deal. Keep your word even when it costs you. Build wealth that serves humanity, not just your vanity. Because at the end of the day, your bank statement might impress others, but your character is what will outlast everything you build. And that, my friends, is the kind of wealth that never goes bankrupt. One of the greatest shifts you can make in your financial journey is to stop thinking in days and start thinking in decades. The average person wakes up every morning asking, "What can I get today?" The wealthy, on the other hand, wake up asking, "What am I building for tomorrow?" That's the difference between consumption and creation, between the person who spends their life reacting to opportunities and the one who designs opportunities that last. Real wealth is not built overnight. It's built over time through patience, discipline, and vision. When I first started out, I wanted everything to happen fast. The money, the recognition, the freedom. But I learned very quickly that anything that grows fast usually falls just as fast. Building wealth is like planting a tree. You don't dig up the roots every week to see if it's growing. You water it, protect it, and trust that the process will reward your consistency. That's what separates the impatient from the successful. Impatience spends, patience invests. You see, when you think in decades, you make better decisions today. You stop chasing quick profits and start building lasting systems. You begin to understand that a small, steady return, reinvested again and again, can outperform a wild gamble every time. The problem is that most people are obsessed with immediate results. They want a harvest in the same season they plant the seed. But nature doesn't work that way, and neither does wealth. There's a rhythm to prosperity, a process that rewards those who respect time as their greatest ally. Let me tell you something. Time is not your enemy, it's your investor. The earlier you begin thinking long-term, the more time compounds your efforts. I've seen people turn modest savings into fortunes simply because they started early and stayed consistent. And I've seen others with high incomes end up with nothing because they never gave their money time to grow. The key isn't to outsmart the market, it's to outlast the noise. When you face a setback, a bad investment, a slow month, a temporary loss, don't panic. Treat it as tuition. Every great investor has paid for their education through mistakes. The goal is not to avoid failure, but to extract the lesson and apply it moving forward. That's how long-term thinkers win. They don't measure progress by one bad season. They measure it by the strength of the orchard after many. So, start thinking like the architect of your own financial legacy. Build a 5-year vision for your income, a 10-year plan for your investments, and a 20-year map for your legacy. Reinvest your profits, protect your principles, and let patience be your quiet power. Because when you think in decades, not days, you move from chasing wealth to creating it. And that's how ordinary people build empires that stand the test of time. Trust, that's the true currency of wealth. Before money ever changes hands, trust does. You see, people don't buy from you because you have the best product or the best pitch. They buy because they believe in you. And when trust becomes your foundation, transactions follow naturally. The wealthy understand this truth deeply. Money moves where trust flows. If your reputation is solid, opportunities will chase you. But if you sacrifice integrity for a quick win, you may make money today but lose everything that could have been built tomorrow. When I was young and struggling to get ahead, I thought the goal was to close the deal. The faster, the better. But I soon realized that rushing for results often meant losing relationships. And relationships are the soil where wealth grows. You can't build an empire on shaky ground. You have to earn credibility, one promise, one action, one consistent effort at a time. And the beauty is, once people trust your word, You never have to sell hard again. Your reputation does the selling for you. It's easy to underestimate the power of integrity when the world around you seems obsessed with shortcuts. But here's the truth. The fast way is rarely the lasting way. A good name is worth far more than a quick paycheck. Deliver more than you promise, and people will remember. Follow through on your word, and they'll return. Help others win, and they'll carry your name into rooms you've never stepped into. That's how real wealth compounds through the trust you've built over time. Too many people chase transactions instead of relationships. They try to collect clients instead of connections. But the secret is this: trust cannot be demanded, it must be demonstrated. You build it in silence through your discipline, your dependability, and your genuine care for others' success. Every time you show up on time, every time you keep your promise, every time you go the extra mile without expecting applause, you're depositing into the bank of trust. And that account pays lifelong dividends. I've seen entrepreneurs fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack trust. They burned bridges, cut corners, or overpromised and underdelivered. But I've also seen those who played the long game, who chose character over convenience, become magnets for opportunity. Because once people know they can trust you, you never have to chase wealth again. Wealth will find you. So before you rush into the next transaction, pause and ask yourself, have I earned the right to be trusted? Because trust isn't built by what you say, it's built by what you prove. Make it your mission to be someone whose name means reliability, honesty, and excellence. When you build that kind of reputation, your network becomes your net worth, and your wealth will grow not from manipulation, but from mutual respect and lasting value. Energy, that's the hidden currency most people forget to protect. Everyone's so busy guarding their money, but they spend their energy like it's infinite. Yet energy is what creates wealth in the first place. You can have the greatest ideas, the sharpest strategy, even a room full of opportunity, but if you're drained, distracted, and disorganized, none of it will matter. Without energy, ideas die poor. Energy is the foundation that makes every other form of success possible. When I started out, I thought making money was all about working longer hours. I believed the harder I pushed, the more I'd earn. But eventually, I learned the truth the hard way. Exhaustion doesn't equal excellence. You can't make sound financial decisions when your mind is tired, your body is neglected, and your spirit is restless. Money follows clarity, and clarity comes from rest, reflection, and renewal. I used to spend so much time chasing results that I forgot to recharge the very engine that produced them, me. So I made a shift. I began treating my energy as an asset, just like capital. I built habits that replenished instead of drained. Sleep became sacred, not a luxury. Exercise became non-negotiable, not optional. Quiet time for thinking and reflection turned from an afterthought into a daily ritual. Because success isn't just about speed, it's about sustainability. You can sprint for a while, but you can't sprint a marathon. And wealth, my friends, is a marathon. You also have to be careful who and what drains you. Some people will exhaust your energy faster than a bad investment drains your bank account. You must learn to protect your environment like you protect your portfolio. Avoid toxic company. Distance yourself from those who complain, criticize, or constantly pull your attention away from your vision. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who bring light into your mind instead of noise. Because energy is contagious, and so is fatigue. I often say, don't just manage your time, manage your energy within your time. Every task you take on, every meeting you agree to, Every relationship you invest in, ask yourself, does this energize me or deplete me? Because the goal isn't to stay busy. The goal is to stay powerful. A calm, focused, energized mind can create more wealth in an hour than a stressed, scattered one can in a week. Build routines that renew your energy daily, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Read something that lifts your spirit. Move your body. Spend time in gratitude. Because gratitude is the ultimate energy booster, it shifts your focus from lack to abundance. And from that state, you make better decisions, attract better opportunities, and build better wealth. So, protect your energy like your fortune depends on it, because it does. Money without energy is useless, but energy with purpose, that's unstoppable. When your energy is high, your decisions are sharp, your confidence is steady, and your results multiply. Energy is wealth in motion. Keep it flowing, and the rest will follow. Before you rush to reinvest in the market, remember, the greatest investment you will ever make is in yourself. You are your own best asset. The mind that manages millions must first be trained to handle hundreds wisely. I've seen people chase the next big stock, the next property, the next business idea, all while neglecting the very engine that produces those ideas, their own mind. Wealth doesn't begin in a portfolio, it begins in a person. The truth is, you don't attract more money until you become the kind of person who can manage more money. When I was younger, I was always looking for shortcuts, faster ways to success. I thought if I could just find the right opportunity, I'd make it big. But opportunities come to those who are prepared. The market doesn't pay for potential. It pays for competence. It rewards those who have sharpened their skills, trained their thinking, and developed the confidence to make decisions under pressure. That's why I learned that before reinvesting in the market, you have to reinvest in the mind that makes the market work for you. Every new level of income requires a new level of insight. If you're earning at the same level you were a few years ago, it's not because the economy has changed. It's because you haven't changed enough. So, before you double your investments, double your learning. Take that course you've been putting off. Read those books that challenge your current thinking. Attend a seminar that forces you out of your comfort zone, not because you have to, but because you owe it to your future self. And don't just learn for the sake of information. Learn for transformation. Apply what you learn immediately. If you study negotiation, use it the next time you make a deal. If you study communication, test it in your next presentation. Knowledge sitting idle is no different than money buried in the ground. Both earn nothing. I remember once a young entrepreneur asked me, "What's the fastest way to double my income?" I told him, "Triple your value." And that's the truth. Your income follows your personal growth. If you increase your skills, your confidence, and your clarity, your earning capacity expands automatically. The market rewards those who keep upgrading their mental software. So, make personal development a part of your investment strategy. Review your growth plan every few months. Refine it. Renew it. Recommit to it. Because markets rise and fall, businesses come and go. But the person you become will always remain your greatest return. Never forget, the best stock you can ever own is you. And unlike the market, that investment never crashes. So, reinvest in yourself first, because once your mind compounds, everything else follows. Wealth doesn't grow from luck, it grows from wisdom. And wisdom begins with the decision to become more tomorrow than you were today. There comes a time in your journey when wealth stops being about the numbers and starts being about the name you leave behind. The true measure of success is not how much you make while you're here, but how much of what you've built continues to serve after you're gone. Because wealth that dies with you was never really wealth. It was just money passing through your hands. The goal isn't just to get rich. It's to become the kind of person whose influence, values, and wisdom keep producing long after your time is done. I remember standing once at the funeral of a great friend, a man who had built businesses, homes, and opportunities for hundreds of people. As they spoke about him, no one mentioned his cars or his bank balance. They spoke about his generosity, his leadership, his ability to make others believe in themselves. And I thought, that's wealth that outlives you. You see, real wealth isn't measured in accumulation, it's measured in continuation. It's what continues when you no longer can. That's why I believe you must design your life with legacy in mind. Not just to earn, but to ensure what you've earned keeps working for others. Build systems, not just savings. Savings end when you spend them. Systems keep producing even in your absence. Create a business that can run without you, investments that pay forward, and structures that carry your values. Wealth should move like water. It should flow through generations, nourishing everyone it touches. And remember, money alone doesn't create legacy, wisdom does. If you pass on money without mindset, it will vanish in a generation. But if you pass on principles, the wealth will find a way to rebuild itself. So, teach your children, your students, your community, what you've learned about discipline, patience, and contribution. Mentor others, not just with advice, but with example. Let them see how you earn, save, and give, because the lessons that live in people are the most profitable investments you'll ever make. When I look back on my journey, I realized that the greatest return on my time wasn't the money I made, it was the people I helped to grow. Some of them went on to build fortunes far greater than mine. And that's the point. Success that multiplies beyond your reach is the highest form of success. So, create something that doesn't end when you do, a foundation that funds education, a system that provides opportunities, a set of teachings that outlive your voice. Build a legacy that proves wealth was never about possession. It was always about purpose. Because when the final chapter of your life is written, the question won't be how much did you leave behind? It will be who did you leave prepared to continue your work? That's the secret to wealth that truly outlives you. Most people measure their progress by the size of their paycheck. They wait for the next raise, the next bonus, the next big deal, believing that more income automatically means more wealth. But it doesn't. You see, it's not what you earn that makes you rich. It's what you keep, what you multiply, and what you manage with wisdom. The poor think in paychecks. The wealthy think in percentages. That simple shift in thinking can change the entire direction of your financial life. I remember early in my journey, I got my first significant paycheck, and I thought I'd made it. I went out, bought things I didn't need, spent on pleasures that didn't last, and before the month ended, the money was gone. The problem wasn't income, it was ignorance. No one had ever taught me that money is a seed, and if you eat all your seeds, there will be no harvest. When I started thinking in percentages, everything changed. I stopped asking, how much did I make this month? And started asking, what percentage of what I made did I grow, protect, or invest? That question will make you wealthy because it puts you in control. The strategy is simple but powerful. Manage your money by purpose, not impulse. Divide every dollar you earn into categories that build your future. Half for living, a portion for growth, a portion for investments, and do it automatically because discipline beats intention every time. When your money has a system, your emotions don't have to make decisions. I used to say, don't let your heart do what your head should be handling. If you automate your savings, your investments, and your giving, you'll wake up one day and realize that your wealth has been growing quietly while you were focused on living. And here's the truth, as your income grows, your percentages should remain consistent. The mistake many people make is upgrading their lifestyle at the same rate as their income. The wealthy expand their investments faster than their expenses. They don't just ask, "What can I afford now?" They ask, "What can I multiply later?" That's the mindset difference between financial struggle and financial freedom. Every quarter, review your allocations. Look at where your money went and ask if it aligned with your goals. Adjust the flow like a gardener trims his plants, not out of guilt, but for growth. When you treat your income like a living ecosystem, it starts producing on its own. You see, when you think in percentages, you detach from emotion and connect to principle. You stop chasing more and start managing better. And in the long run, management always beats momentum. The paycheck might stop, but a percentage-based system keeps paying. Because wealth, my friends, is not about bigger paychecks. It's about building the habit of making every dollar work with purpose. A business, if built right, should pay you twice, once in profit and once in growth. The first reward is financial, but the second is far more powerful. It's who you become in the process of building it. Too many people start a business just to make money, but the ones who truly prosper use it as a tool to refine their thinking, strengthen their discipline, and expand their network. You see, the real wealth of a business isn't just in what it earns, but in what it teaches. It's a mirror that reflects your character, your consistency, and your creativity. When I started my first venture, I was more focused on income than insight. I thought success was measured by how quickly the profits came in. But soon, I realized that even when the money was slow, the lessons were rich. The business taught me to communicate better, to lead people, to solve problems, to handle rejection, and to think strategically. Every challenge was tuition for mastery, and I learned something important. If your business only pays you in cash, you're underpaid. The strategy, then, is to build ventures that multiply your value as much as your income. Choose something that demands personal growth. If your business doesn't stretch you, it won't sustain you. A business should make you smarter, not just richer. It should connect you with people who sharpen you and expose you to ideas that elevate your thinking. That's how wealth deepens, through transformation, not just transactions. Start a business that forces you to develop new skills. Maybe it's learning marketing, negotiation, or leadership. Whatever it is, let the business be your teacher. And while you're learning, document your journey. Share your insights, your struggles, your wins. That transparency doesn't just build trust, it builds authority. People respect those who grow publicly, and authority, my friends, often becomes the most profitable form of leverage. Then, reinvest not just your profits, but your lessons. Every mistake you make has a price. Make sure it also has a return. Don't waste your failures. Convert them into frameworks, systems, and strategies for the next stage. I used to say, don't just earn income, earn experience. Because experience compounds faster than interest. If you build wisely, your business becomes more than a source of money. It becomes a machine that produces wisdom, confidence, and influence. And that's the second payment. That's the one that keeps paying long after the cash flow slows. So don't chase businesses that only fill your pocket. Pursue the ones that fill your potential. Because when your business pays you twice, once in money and once in mastery, that's when wealth becomes inevitable and freedom becomes real. Before we close today, I want you to take a moment and think about something deeply. Not about your bills, not about your job, not even about your current income, but about you. Because the truth is, wealth doesn't begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. The richest people in the world didn't start rich. They started aware. They became conscious of how they were thinking, where they were spending, and what they were becoming. They didn't chase money. they chased growth. And money, like a loyal student, followed growth wherever it went. You see, everyone wants to earn more, live better, and enjoy freedom. But not everyone wants to become the kind of person who deserves it. Most people want success to come faster than their development. They want the lifestyle without the discipline, the rewards without the responsibility. But life doesn't work that way. You don't get paid for what you want, you get paid for what you become. That's the secret. That's the unspoken rule of wealth. If you truly want to turn your yearly income into your monthly income, don't start by chasing opportunities. Start by upgrading yourself. The person you are right now is producing the results you have right now. If you want better results, you must become better first. And when you do, opportunities will no longer be something you run after, they'll be something that run after you. So here's the challenge. For the next 12 months, work harder on yourself than you've ever worked on your job. Read the books, take the classes, learn the skills, build the habits, wake up earlier, plan your days, track your progress, and refuse to live by default. Life doesn't give to the lazy or the lucky, it gives to the disciplined and the deliberate. And when you show up for yourself, day after day, the results compound, just like interest, just like wealth. And don't forget, money is only one measure of success. The real measure is who you become along the way. Because what good is wealth if you lose your health, your relationships, or your peace of mind? The goal isn't to make money your master, it's to make it your servant. To have enough so you can give more, live more, and be more. The real prize is freedom, freedom of time, freedom of choice, freedom to live your purpose fully. I've met people with millions who were miserable because they never learned this. And I've met people with far less who were wealthy in spirit because they understood that true prosperity starts with gratitude, discipline, and growth. So, don't just build a bank account. Build a life that means something. Use money as a tool, not a trophy. Let it fund your dreams, your family's future, and the difference you were born to make. Tonight, before you go to bed, write down your vision, not just what you want to earn, but who you want to become in the process. Set a goal so strong that it pulls you forward, something that wakes you up with purpose every morning. Then, take one small step toward it tomorrow. Just one. Because success doesn't come from doing everything at once. It comes from doing the right thing consistently. And remember this, the road to wealth is not a sprint. It's a lifelong journey of becoming more, giving more, and living more. So start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, be relentless with your dreams and gentle with your doubts. Because if you keep walking, learning, and growing, one day you'll wake up and realize the life you once imagined is now the life you're living.